Today's news, do white college students believe stereotypes about minorities?
Baylor University recently published a study of roughly 900 white incoming freshmen into 27 prestigious universities on their opinions and observations of Asians, Blacks, and Latino Americans on work ethic, intelligence, and perseverance.
Now, if you're like me, this study actually makes you kind of angry. I've got rage building up inside of me, and that's a good thing, I think.
Explain.
There needs to be some outrage on this. The fact that so many people are ignorant and prejudiced and stereotyped in this way, I think it needs to be addressed. I think that it needs to be shown. I think it needs to be spotlighted that this is the ridiculousness that we're thinking so that it can be worked on and squashed.
I think what stuck out to me the most in this survey was the fact that the overwhelming majority of people surveyed have one or zero friends in the minority categories that they were surveyed in.
And I also noticed that in this article, they were also talking about school segregation that still occurs to this day. Why does it occur to this day? Because of a lot of different reasons. But it shouldn't be happening.
Well, you know why it's still happening. It has to do with money.
I know.
Education costs a lot of money. It is a problem that still needs to be resolved, but it's a very, very difficult problem that actually, as time goes by, seems to get worse. Public and private education, that is. One thing that I know that I think you'll agree with, and a lot of you out there watching will probably too, is that, at least from our experience in Korea, the majority of students that we came in contact with had parents that cared deeply about their education. So at least when it comes to the stereotype, are Asians smarter? I don't know if they're smarter because brain power is the same for all ethnicities across the board. But then when it comes to, for instance, parental influence, you're going to get a larger portion of Asian parents caring more deeply about the education that their children receive. If you compare that to the United States, a lot of people here also do care about the education of their children, but if you make the comparison between the United States and Korea, Korea wins. So it's a stereotype, but it's actually also kind of factual too. What do you think?
I think that you have a good point there. Asian parents tend to have this helicopter or tiger parent mentality where they push their kids to succeed and be the best, and they're always fighting to get the best jobs, the best schools, the best life. That's what they want for their kids, and they see education as the way to make that happen.
They see a brighter future for the children than they had themselves. Korea's sort of at a pinnacle of their realization of how good they can make their country. It still does seem to be going up there, but it is getting harder for the younger generation now, even though 20, 30 years ago, things weren't as good as they are now. There seems to be more opportunities for the younger people, but it seems to be changing all of a sudden again. Don't get me wrong, I think that Korea has too much schooling. But at least when it comes to what parents want or what parents do to influence their children in terms of education, that sort of influence does make them smarter because they're in school longer and their parents care more about their education.
But you could also argue, are they really smarter or are they just better at memorizing and regurgitating information for tests?
This article talks about in-group and out-group. The in-group being white people, the out-groups being the minorities, and that the in-group has more power or more say in the way that they view the rest of the groups, and so they put these external factors that might not necessarily be true on these groups. And I just feel like white people in America, some of them feel threatened these days because the minority groups are growing and the country's just changing.
Well, a lot of people are ignorant, and there is something to parents' fears and parents' influence perpetuating through the younger generations. And this is a good example of that because white people have been in power for a very long time. And it's just wrong, you guys. It's just wrong because there's a lot of people who are disenfranchised, African American people, Latino people. A lot of them are in communities where they are just struggling to survive, and there's a lot of things that go behind it that aren't being talked about in this article. So many white people live in this ignorant bubble of their own choice, and it
We would like to know your thoughts on this. Comments below. There are 2 links, actually, if you want to check out not only the article, but also the research paper, which was published online. It's actually not too long to read. Links are in the description box. And click the like button while you're down there. Thanks so much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more HallyuBack news. That's it. We're out of here. Hasta luego.
Bye!